Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to have you here today. I'm Jennifer, and I'm so excited to share our conversation about some of our favorite ingredients and creative kitchen moments. Let's dive into this, shall we? So, recently I was preparing one of my favorite dishes for a farm-to-table dinner at our farmhouse. A fig and goat cheese tart. It's a simple, rustic dish that highlights the natural sweetness of fresh figs, balanced by the creamy, tangy goat cheese. Everything was going smoothly until I realized I didn't have enough figs. I usually make this tart for special gatherings like our community dinners, where I like to showcase fresh, locally sourced produce. Figs are a wonderful fruit with a sweet, honey-like flavor, and here in Texas, they have a lot of fans, especially during fig season. They pair beautifully with cheese, nuts, and even savory dishes. I often use them in salads, on pizzas, or just drizzled with a bit of honey for dessert. So, what did I do when I realized I didn't have enough figs? Well, instead of swapping them for another fruit, I got creative with what I had on hand. I had sun-dried figs, but I knew that wouldn't give me the same texture or flavor. So I rehydrated them in a mixture of local honey, lemon juice, and a bit of herbal tea. That process infused the figs with a citrusy sweetness that actually elevated the dish. I also added a little balsamic glaze to enhance the tart's complexity. It was a unique twist that the guests absolutely loved, even more than the original recipe.
Wow, Jennifer, that's such a creative solution. I love the idea of rehydrating the figs with tea and honey. It sounds so flavorful. How did you come up with that idea? Was it something you've tried before?
Thank you, Sarah. It was a bit of an experiment, honestly. I've rehydrated dried fruit before for other recipes, but I wanted to give these figs a special touch. I had some herbal tea on hand, and it just clicked that it could give the figs a fresh, earthy taste to complement the tart.
Oh, I love how you manage to keep the integrity of the dish. I've been in similar situations with my food truck where I'm missing something essential. Did the honey give it an extra sweetness or balance it out with the goat cheese?
Exactly, Chloe. The honey added a delicate sweetness, but the lemon juice cut through it nicely, balancing out the richness of the goat cheese. It made for a more complex, layered flavor.
That's amazing, Jennifer. I'm curious, did your kids get involved in any way? I know when I'm experimenting in the kitchen, my little ones always want to help.
Yes, Maya, they loved helping me stir the honey and lemon mixture and arranging the rehydrated figs on the tart. It was a fun family moment for sure.
I'm in awe of your resourcefulness, Jennifer. It sounds like you made a potential disaster into a masterpiece. What did the guests say about the dish? Were they able to tell the figs were rehydrated?
Thank you, Emily. The guests absolutely raved about the tart. Most of them didn't even realize the figs were dried initially, but they commented on how fresh and vibrant the flavors were. I think the extra steps really made a difference.
Following up on what Jennifer just shared, I think one of the critical criteria when purchasing figs has to be their ripeness. I usually buy figs during Washington's peak season for making fig preserves. They should be plump, soft, and slightly yielding to the touch. A firm fig is often underripe and won't develop that signature sweetness. I always tell people to be cautious of figs that are too mushy, though it's a fine balance.
Absolutely, Emily. Ripeness is key. Another important factor is texture. Here in California, I use figs a lot in salads and grilled dishes. I always look for figs that have a smooth, slightly elastic skin. If they're too wrinkled, they're past their prime. I also avoid ones that have any blemishes or cracks.
I completely agree, Sarah. For me, size is another important criterion, especially for my food truck dishes. In Florida, I like to use figs as a garnish on sweet and savory plates. I aim for medium to large figs because they're usually juicier and have a richer flavor. Tiny figs can be a bit too dry or seedy for my liking.
That's so true, Maya. And I'd add the color is another thing to look out for. I love buying figs at New York farmers markets, where you get such a variety. Depending on the type, figs should have a deep, rich color, whether they're green, black, or purple. A dull color is usually a red flag for lack of flavor.
I couldn't agree more with all of you. The last thing I'll mention is fragrance. Figs should have a sweet, slightly floral smell. If there's no aroma, they might be underripe. And if they smell sour, they're likely overripe or fermented. I learned this the hard way once when I bought figs that looked perfect but smelled off. They were too far gone.
Now, if I had to pick a good alternative to figs here in New York, I'd go with blackberries. They have that sweet, tart flavor, and they're also juicy and soft, perfect for adding to salads or tarts, like Jennifer's dish. Blackberries might not have the honey, like sweetness of figs, but they offer a refreshing contrast.
That's a great pick, Chloe. In Florida, I'd use papayas as a substitute. They're mild but sweet, and they bring a tropical twist. Papayas don't have the same richness as figs, but they definitely shine in desserts and salads.
In Washington, I'd choose plums as a fig alternative. They have a juicy, sweet flavor with just the right amount of tang. Plus, they're abundant here. While they're more acidic than figs, they still hold up well in baking or raw dishes.
For California, I say apricots make a nice stand-in. They have a sweet and slightly tart flavor that pairs well with both savory and sweet dishes. Apricots might not have the same texture as figs, but they offer a similar versatility.
Wow, ladies, this was such a fantastic conversation. Sarah, you brought up the importance of texture and ripeness, and Maya, your point on size was spot on. Chloe, I loved how you highlighted the color, and Emily, your focus on fragrance really resonated with me. I'm grateful for all your input on choosing figs, and your alternative suggestions were wonderful too. Thanks so much for sharing your insights. Well, that's a wrap. I hope you all enjoyed this discussion as much as we did. Thanks for tuning in, and we can't wait to share more creative kitchen moments with you next time. See you soon!